Welcome to looping. Looping, repetition, iteration. What is looping? What do you mean by looping? Looping. Okay, do something repeatedly. Do something repeatedly. Then we call it as looping. The language supports looping, repetition, or iteration. Okay, we have sequencing, selection, and then repetition. So the last among it is repetition, but it is the most frequently used one. Or it has major effect. It has a major effect on the execution of the program. So in C language, looping is supported three ways: by using while statement, by using while loop, or while statement, and then do while. Do while is just a minor variation of this while statement, and then for loop. So you have while, do while, and then for. While, do while, for. Executing some statements repeatedly as long as the condition is true, or executing some statement a fixed number of times, is called as looping. So you execute a certain set of statements a fixed number of times, or as long as the condition is true, So there are two cases. As long as the condition is true, as long as the condition is true, or fixed number of times. So that is called as looping, repetition, iteration. The while statement is used to repeatedly execute some statements as long as the condition is true. So in the case of while, so it is executed based on condition. So as long as the condition is true, some statements, a statement or a set of statements are executed repeatedly. The general syntax is like this: while expression, statement 1. While expression, statement 1. That means while the value of this expression is true, we execute the statement. So while the value of this expression is true, execute the statements. So you repeatedly execute the statements. Again, you go here. So while the value of the expression is true, you execute these statements. When the value of the expression becomes false, go out of the loop. That means you go to the next statement after the loop. After the loop. Here you can see while expression, that is I less than or equal to 10. That means while the value of I is less than or equal to 10, you execute these statements repeatedly. While the value of the expression or the value of the I is less than or equal to 10, you repeatedly execute these statements. When the value of the I becomes greater than 10, that is when the value of I actually becomes 11. When the value of the I becomes 11, you don't execute this statement, but you go to the next statement. Say some SI. Okay. You go to the next statement. So while the value of this expression is true, you repeatedly execute. When the value of this expression becomes false, you go to the next statement. So this is while loop, while expression statement. That statement can be a simple statement or compound statement, or otherwise we can say it's a group of statements. The next variation of this while statement is do while. Do while. The general form of the do while statement is do statement followed by while expression. So the difference you can see, while expression statement. Here do statement while expression. That means after executing this statement, the value of the expression is evaluated. So that means this statement will be executed at least once. This statement will be executed at least once, because what you are doing, sequencing again, do statement. You are executing the statement while expression is true. You have executed and then you are going to check the condition. So if this condition is true, again you come back. Again you come back. If the expression is true, again you come back and again execute the statement. So the expression is true. The expression is true. Execute. So when the value of this expression becomes false, you go to the next statement. 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 So the difference is the condition checking is done after executing the statement. That means this statement will be executed at least once. At least once. So that is the difference. Note that difference. In the case of while, the condition is verified only if the condition is true, statement is executed. Whereas in the case of do while, statement is executed and then condition is verified. So statement will be executed at least once. But in both the cases, as long as the value of the expression is true, the statement is executed repeatedly. Again, the statement can be simple statement or compound statement. Next statement is for statement. The most commonly used looping statement is for loop. So the general syntax is for, within the parenthesis, expression 1, expression 2, expression 3. For, within the parenthesis, expression 1, semicolon, expression 2, semicolon, expression 3, followed by statement. Now how it is executed? How it is executed? Okay, first expression 1 is executed. First expression 1 is executed and then expression 2 is executed. First expression 1 is executed, then expression 2 is executed. Expression 2 is executed. After executing expression 2, if the value of the expression 2 is true, then statement is executed. After executing the statement, expression 4 is executed. Note on this order. First expression 1 is executed, then expression 2 is executed. After that, if the value of the expression is true, expression 2 is true, then statement 3 is executed. After executing the statement 3, the expression 3 is executed. Expression 3 is executed. Now what happens? Because we have to execute statement 1 repeatedly. After executing expression 3, what happens? Again this expression 2 is evaluated and this process repeats. Expression 2 is executed, and then statement is executed, and then expression 3, expression 2, again statement 1, again expression 3, statement expression 2, then statement 1. So this will be repeated. This will be repeated. So which one is executed only once? Expression 1 is executed only once during the beginning. First expression 1 is evaluated, then expression 2 is evaluated. If expression 2 is true, then statement is executed. Statement is executed. After executing the statement, expression 3 is evaluated. Expression 3 is evaluated. Then again expression 2 is evaluated. Again, if the expression 2 value is true, statement is executed. Again expression 3 is evaluated. Again expression 2 is evaluated. If expression 2 is still true, then again statement 2 is executed. So like that this process repeats. Like that the process repeats. Now what is expression 1? What is expression 2? What is expression 3? What is statement? You consider statement. Again, statement can be a simple statement or compound statement enclosed within the flower brackets. Enclosed within the flower brackets, a group of statements. Expression 1. Expression 1 is basically for initialization. Expression 1 is for initialization. Initialization. And then expression 2 is condition. Condition checking. Expression 3 is increment or decrement. It can be increment or decrement. Decrement can be taken as equivalent to incrementing with negative value. So initialization, condition, increment. Initialization, condition, increment. What is initialization? Initialization means you initialize something. Now you are checking the conditions. Before checking the condition, what should be the initial values? What should be the initial values? Basically, you use some variables within the loop. Those variables are called as index variables. Those variables are called as index variables. The statements, the variables which you initialize and use within the loop are called as index variables. So here index variable is initialized. Index variable is initialized. Okay, and then condition is checked. Condition is checked. Condition we have seen in the case of while loop, do while, etc. The same condition, similar condition here. And then the increment decrement. And then the increment decrement. Increment decrement is done. Okay, so the other thing is note that they are separated by semicolons. Expression 1, expression 2 and expression 3 are separated by semicolons. So this is for loops. So we'll consider examples. We'll do programming. But understanding how it works is very important. And discussing several examples is of no use if you don't understand this concept. So if you want, you can pause, go back, and then again try to find out how these are executed. So here you can see for I equal to 1, I less than or equal to 20 plus of I, sum equal to sum plus 1. So initialization or expression 1 is I equal to 1 and condition checking is I less than or equal to 20 or expression 2. And then incrementation is plus of I, which is equivalent to I equal to I plus 1. Here that means I value is incremented. So I is considered as index variable. I is considered as index variable. I is considered as index variable. So this while loop and for loop will produce the same result. If you consider this one for statement, for expression 1, expression 2, expression 3 statement, this can be written as actually the form of while loop, expression 1 outside the loop, while expression 2, statement 1, and then expression 3. So this is equivalent. This is equivalent to this statement, first statement. So for can be implemented using while can be implemented using for also. If it is difficult for you to initially to use both fire and while, actually that's simple. But if it is difficult for you, you can use only one. You can use only one, concentrate on only one. Okay. Generally, first statement is used when some statements are to be executed fixed number of times, and while is used when statements are to be executed based on condition. Actually, this is true in the case of other languages, but in the case of C, it is not true. In case of other languages like Fortran, Pascal, etc., usually for loop is used to execute the statements fixed number of times. But I know here also we can use it to execute fixed number of times, but it is also a conditional statement. It is also not just conditional statement. It also has condition. It is also executed based on some condition. Based on some condition. That condition can be set such that the statement is executed fixed number of times. Okay, that's why in some books for is called as unconditional statement, because it is executed fixed number of times. But note that it is wrong. So it is executed based on condition only, but it can be made to execute fixed number of times. One or more of the expressions in the for loop can be omitted. Expression 1, expression 2, expression 3 are there. One of these can be omitted, but semicolon is necessary. Just two semicolons within the for loop. Two semicolons within the for loop indicates an infinite loop. Suppose we write like this: for this infinite loop. Initialization and increment decrement can be omitted if we can use some other means of achieving the same. If condition verification is missing, then it may become an infinite loop. Programmer should find some other means of terminating the loop if necessary. So if expression 2 is missing, then it becomes an infinite loop. We have seen in the previous case, previous example, infinite loop. That means program will not terminate, will be continuously executing. So infinite loops are to be avoided. So if you don't write expression 2, then it will become an infinite loop. But of course you can come out of the infinite loop not just by pressing Ctrl C or Ctrl Z in some integrated development environments. It is not just about that one. There can be other ways. Ways also. One is break statement, the other one is return statement. This can be used to come out of the infinite loop. And nesting of the loops is also possible. Within the for loop, we can write another for loop. Within the while, you can write a for loop. So all this can be done. So nesting, we go up to generally 2 levels. One level is sufficient in most cases. 2 levels sometimes if required. So definitely not more than 3 levels in many cases. Because it becomes confusing. So nesting of loops is also possible. Break statement, as the name indicates, it is used to break the normal flow of control of the program. Break the normal flow of control of the program. Break the normal flow. Normal flow of the control. Break the normal flow of control of the program. That means program is executing in some fashion. You want to break it. Or in otherwise, break statement is used to terminate the loops or to exit from a switch statement. We have not actually discussed a switch statement because it is also a conditional statement, but it is little different from the if statement. And also we need to know about this break before we discuss the switch statement. So it is a conditional statement. Okay, that we'll see next. But break statement is used to terminate the loops. While statement, do statement, and then for statement. So break statement is used to terminate the loops. That means to come out of the loops. So when break statement is executed, control is transferred to out of the loop. Break statement is simply written just like this. Okay, break. Just write break. So this statement will take the control out of the loop. So it is used to terminate the loop under special circumstances. Remember, if is not considered as a loop. If is not a loop. Okay, it is used to break statement is used to terminate the loops and also to exit from the switch, not to exit from the if. Not to exit from the if. Break statement is used to come out of the loops for while, do while, or to exit from a switch statement. If we have break statement, if we have nested statements, so then in that case, one execution of one break statement will take you out of the innermost loop, will take you out of the innermost loop. But again, after coming out of the innermost loop, if you come out of, if you want to come out of the outer loop also, then again you have to write the break statement. So in the case of nested statements, within the inner loop, if there is a break statement, and then break statement will take you out of the innermost loop. This is break statement. The other one is continue statement. Continue statement is used to bypass the remaining statements of the loop. It is used to bypass. That means, what is bypass? Bypass road of a city. Bypass means it will not go through the city. It will not come into the city. The city is bypassed. So similarly, bypass the remaining statements of the loop. That means if there are statements, say S1, S1, S2, S3, S4. If there are statements like this, and if you write continue statement somewhere, it is used to bypass these statements. Suppose if you write continue statement here, continue is written like this only. So if you write continue here, then these statements are bypassed. Bypassed means these are not executed. S1 is executed, S2 is executed, continue is executed. So these are bypassed, and then again you go to the condition. Here there will be condition. So condition will be there, and continue is used to bypass the remaining statements in the loop wherever it is written. If you write the continue statement at this point after condition itself, then all the statements are bypassed. So they are not executed. They are skipped. Okay, that is the use of continue statement. It is used to bypass the remaining statements in the loop. So here you can just see an example. We'll discuss other examples also. So while I less than or equal to 10, scanf %d and of value. It's not a complete program, but just have a look at it. Scanf %d and value. If value less than 0, continue. Sum equal to sum plus value. Now what is happening here? Just think. So what you are doing, you are summing something. What you are summing? You are summing the values. Okay, you are summing the values. Every time you are reading the value, you are summing the values. While I less than or equal to 10, that means 10 times you are reading the value, and then you are trying to add it to the value. But in between there is if value less than 0, continue. What is the effect of it? If the value which you are reading, is less than 0, then then this statement will not be executed. That means you are adding only positive values. You are bypassing the negative values. You are not adding the negative values. So if the values read are, say, 10 values you have to read actually. Say, let us assume only 3 values. If the values read are 1, 2, 3, then so value less than 0, no. Again for 2 also value less than 0, no. Value less than 0 for 3, no. So it will be executed 3 times. But if the values read are, say, the values read are 1, say -5 or -4, 6. If the values read are like this, that means 1, okay, is it less than 0? No. So it will be added. -4. So value less than 0, yes, -4 is less than 0. So continue. So that means -4 is not added. Come here again. This condition will be verified. Again 6, value less than 0, no. So it will be added. So 1 and 6 are added, but not -4. So here what you are doing, you are trying to bypass the summing when the value of the when the value read is negative or less than 0. Okay. So bypass. Suppose if it is break, what happens? Instead of continue, assume that it is break. What happens? So break statement is used to terminate the loop. So whenever the value is less than 0, break. That means loop is terminated. I already told you, if is not a loop, while is a loop. So only one loop is there here. So break statement terminates the loop and you will be coming here. You will be coming to this point. You will be coming to this point. You will be coming to this point. The case of break statement. The case of break statement. Next, comma operator. The comma operator is usually associated with the first statement. It is used to separate two expressions. So whenever we have two expressions, say in the initialization part or in condition part or in the incrementation part, depending on your requirement, suppose you have multiple expressions there within the initialization or within the condition or maybe within the incrementation. If multiple expressions, not even just two expressions actually, okay, they will be separated by commas. So here expression 1, expression 2, here you can see they are separated by commas. This should be actually expression 2 only. So expression 2. So expression 1 and expression 2 are separated by commas. That means both will be executed. Both will be executed. It is left to right associative. It will have an impact. You can check the precedence and associativity of the operators. It is left to right. So first this expression 1 and then expression 2 is executed. Suppose in simple terms, if expression 1 is I equal to 3 and expression 2 is I equal to 5, then the value of I will be 5 because it is left to right. First I will be assigned to 3 and then I will be assigned to 5. I will be assigned 5, not to 5. I value will be assigned 3, I value will be assigned 5. So the value of I after executing expression 1 and expression 2 are 5. The value is 5. So this is the comma operator. Sometimes it is used. So if required, you can use it. Here you can see an example. I equal to 1, I equal to 2, I equal to 3. 3 expressions are there within the initialization part. separated by commas, and then condition checking is only 1, incrementation is also only 1. So what is the value of I? Initial value of I itself becomes 3 in this case. 3. So that means it will be executed, actually the sum equal to sum plus 1 will be executed 8 times. So best of luck, use looping. You have to use loops, but be careful with the infinite loops. Always avoid infinite loops, except in very rare cases where you do it internally. Where something has to be done continuously, then you go with the infinite loop.